So the question is, where do we go to find those listings that most buyers don't see? Where do we go to find those good deals? Today, I'm going to be showing you guys a few different sites and a few different methods to find those listings that a lot of buyers won't see. And of course, if you are not a licensed real estate agent, you're not going to have the same resources as a realtor. So today, I'm just going to show you the things that you can do if you're not a licensed real estate agent. First, if you zoom back on Zillow, you can see, you can pick what state you want to go to. Say you don't want to pay income tax, so you want to go to Washington State. You don't want to go to Idaho. So I specifically work primarily in Spokane. So if you're looking at Spokane, this is a great setup. You can zoom in, have a clear line across the border, and so you only get listings in the Spokane area. As you can see, of course, as you start to put on restrictions, you're going to get fewer and fewer listings. Available, home type. Now, if you really, if these three right here are important to you, then that's one thing. But if you can avoid these three criteria, avoid them at all costs, because as you can see, I mean, you put in 1 acre, it drops it down to 8 listings available. So these three are going to limit the amount that show up, the amount of homes show up more than just about anything else. So we'll stick with this here. So, I mean, 95% of buyers, they're going to scroll through this section here. You can see 189 agent listings. But what most people don't realize is there's another side to it. These 35 listings are for sale by owners. Sometimes you have auctions, sometimes you have foreclosures. About 50% of them are going to be for sale by owners. And those are what you're going to want to look at. Now, keep in mind, if you are looking at for sale by owners, you are most likely going to end up, first off, for sale by owners are homes that are listed without a realtor, so they're listed by the owner of the home. And I want to be careful here, but typically people list for sale by owners for 2 reasons. Either A, they're not ready or willing to commit to a real estate agent or to the whole selling process, or B, they're wanting to save some money. And that's not a bad thing in and of itself, but as a buyer, you need to be aware of these things. If they're not committed, then obviously it's going to be lock and change within the 30 days it takes to close. And if they're wanting to save every penny, then during the negotiations, it's going to be potentially they may not be too favorable for you. Now, if you go through here, you don't see anything you like, there are a few other sites that you can go to that are going to have a lot of listings for you. One of the biggest is for sale by owner, or fsbo.com. Now, on this site, it's all for sale by owners. What you do is you type in your zip code, and you can type in some criteria, but typically, if you are really the biggest criteria is just going to be the price. This is going to be your best site for sale by owners, but like I said earlier, you want to be careful with for sale by owners because a lot of times, without a real estate agent, things can get a little bit dicey. Next is going to be apartments.com. Now, apartments.com is, of course, for apartments. I don't do apartments, and it is a pretty common site. But if you are looking for rental or short-term living, this is a great site to use. Last but not least is going to be foreclosure.com. Now, foreclosures are a completely different process. They take a little longer typically. They're a little more complicated. If you have a great real estate agent on your team, then it's not going to be as big of a deal. But the benefit with these, the benefit and curse, they're kind of a two-sided card here, is that they're a little more difficult a lot of the times, a little more complicated, but that also weeds out a lot of buyers. You're going to see only about 5% of the buyers on the market looking on these types of homes, especially and the ones that do really a lot of times are investors. And so the people you're competing against, they're not even looking at the same type of home that you are. So as a home buyer, this is going to be a really great resource for you. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, there are a few things that realtors can do that a lot of regular home buyers cannot, but this is a great place to start. Make sure to look at for sale by owners, but keep in mind that there are risks. Look at forsalebywowner.com and, of course, foreclosure.com.